Hi, welcome to IRE YouTube channel. This is Dr. P. Sridhar, working as a professor in Electrical and Electronics Engineering Department of Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Hyderabad. Today, I am here to discuss about basic electrical engineering. Actually, what required to understand complete electrical engineering course and what are the basic definitions which are highly required for better understanding of these electrical circuits, and what is the Ohm's law, and what are the standard symbols is required and which are used in electrical components. These are the four major topics I would like to discuss today, through which I am going to take you into electrical engineering courses. So these are the four minimum things required to understand the basics of electrical engineering. This course is highly useful for other than electrical students, because in this particular course I am going to elaborate the things from the scratch level. The students or the faculty who requires the basic knowledge, kindly watch this video. So this certainly enlightens the basics of electrical circuits. So what are the basic things required for understanding of these electrical circuits? From the scratch level, if you could observe, we require three basic elements. With the help of these three basic elements, we are going to concentrate more and we can create some basic level of knowledge which is required for electrical circuits. So with the help of these circuits, I am going to highlight the requirements for the electrical circuits. So if you could observe here in this particular actual circuits, where in this one there is a battery is there, and there is one bulb, and there is one switch, and there is one wire. So these are the four basic parameters. We have constructed one basic electrical circuit. Circuit is nothing but it is a combination of various elements. If all these elements are connected by means of a conductor or a cable, which forms electrical circuit. So this battery, so everybody knows what the battery is. Battery or cell, it is used to move the electrical charges or electrons or positive charge particles in the conductor. So for the movement of that particular charge particles, we require a force. That force, it will be created by connecting the different conductors or electrical appliances to the battery. So battery creates certain amount of force that required to move the charge particles in the conductor. This is about the battery. Then coming to this bulb. This bulb is nothing but it is one type of basic electrical appliance. So my intention is I want to turn on this bulb. I want to illuminate this particular bulb. Now how can we turn on this particular bulb? Means once this bulb is directly connected to the battery like this, then automatically this will be continuously turns on. Now throughout the 24/7, we don't want to see the light to be on. In such cases, we had to control what is the duration of time, or during which amount of time you want to turn on the bulb, or during which amount of time, during that particular period of time you want to turn off that particular bulb. Now that will be decided by means of a switch. That switch is nothing but based on your requirement, we can close the circuit or we can open the circuit. We can close the circuit or we can break the circuit or we can close the circuit. If the switch open circuited, automatically the total circuit will be breaked into two different pieces. So in that cases, what happens? Now this, whatever the amount of force the battery is giving, that may not find a closed path as the switch was open circuited. If the switch is open circuited, then battery may not find a closed path. So exerting certain amount of force on the charge particles, it's not possible. In that cases, the bulb may not be illuminated. The bulb is in completely off condition. So if you want to turn on the bulb, that bulb means just simply you close the switch. If the switch is closed, then the battery is able to find a closed path by means of bulb and by means of closed switch. So the battery is able to find a closed path. It will provide some amount of force on the charge particles. So charge particle starts traveling from this side and this will able to complete a path Now, generally, battery will provide force on the charged particles, or it will exert some different amount of force on the charged particles from the positive terminal to the negative terminal. So, it was assumed that this is positive terminal and this will be a negative terminal. So, this is a positive and negative terminals of this battery. So, once this battery is able to find a closed path, then battery will exert some amount of force on the charged particles. So once the charged particles starts moving from positive terminals of the battery, so our light will be illuminated, provided that that battery must and should find a closed path. If the battery is not able to find a closed path, then there is no illumination of that particular bulb. So here the condition is compulsory, there must be a closed path. Then only our electrical appliances. So in this example, I have taken bulb as simple example. So bulb, if you want to turn on, means first of all, the battery and the bulb, it should be connected in a closed path. So people may get, what is the need of this closed switch? The closed switch or that particular switch, now that was in the closed position. So that's why we have called this as a closed switch. Actually, the switch is nothing but based on our requirement. If we want to break the circuit or if we want to make the circuit, that can be done with the help of that switch. If the switch is open circuited, then the circuit will be braked. If the switch is closed circuited, like that shown in the PPT, then that will be closes the circuit. Now, once the switch is closed, then the battery is able to find a closed path. In the schematic diagram, like bulb is represented as this, and next one is a blue wire which was shown like a wire. So this is also a wire or conductor, a conducting material, and this switch is in the thing but closed switch. And then battery, now as we discussed, now battery will have two terminals, one is the positive terminal and the negative terminal. So generally in the electrical circuits, this is the schematic diagram is normally preferred instead of actual circuit. Now with the help of this actual circuit, the conclusions of are from this particular slide is, if we want to illuminate or if we want to turn on our electrical light, which is nothing but it is a load. Suppose if we want to run the load, then you have to take the element or the appliance, electrical appliance, which you want to turn on or which you want to run. That is nothing but it is called as a load. So in this example, our electrical bulb is nothing but it is a load. If you want to drive the load, or if you, that load is nothing but bulb. Drive the load means I want to see some illumination. I want to see some light in that bulb. So that bulb, if you want to turn on, then you take the bulb and connect in a simple electrical circuit or simple circuit. So just like that, bulb won't turn on. So we have to give some energy or voltage source or some sort of electrical energy into the circuit. So the battery is nothing but the battery is used, or in some of the cases, cell, electrical cell or battery is used to drive some input to the electrical circuit. This battery is nothing but this is the voltage source, or this drives or it gives some electrical energy into the circuit. So energy in is nothing but our electrical source. That is nothing but the battery. Second one is load is there. That load is nothing but, in this case, electrical bulb is nothing but the load. So that is nothing but the bulb will have some resistance in it. That is nothing but load resistance. Load is nothing but second point. Third point is nothing but there must be a closed path. How can we get the closed path? So this bulb and battery is to be connected by means of a conducting wire. That conducting wire allows the transmission of electrical energy from the battery to the load. So basically, how many parameters we require? One is a source which provides some electrical energy into the circuit. That is energy in. That will be a battery or cell. Second one is nothing but there must be a media. That is a conduction media is required from the source to the load. So who will provide that conduction media is nothing but electrical wire will provide the conduction media. And third one is nothing but we have constructed all these things to drive the load. Load will have some load resistance in it. Resistance is nothing but it is one kind of opposition created by the body itself. This is the basic property of the body. If any body is existing on the earth, means certainly every body will have some opposition. It tries to oppose the forces acting on it. Similarly, In this example, we have taken bulb. So bulb is also physically existing. It will have some opposition characteristics, which is nothing but it is characterized as a load resistance. So basically we require three parameters. Just now see a source voltage, that is an electron pump, usually a battery or power supply. So this is nothing but it provides or it adds the energy into the circuit. So this is energy in. Second one is it is a conductor, is a wire to carry electrons, and to the voltage source. Voltage source is nothing but it is a pump. The conductor is often a wire in the nature. Third one is nothing but it is a load resistance where energy is extracted from the circuit in the form of heat or in the form of light or in the form of motion energy. This is nothing but the energy out. So heat is nothing but the best example is, let us take a water. I want to heat that water with the help of water heater. So you put that water heater and connect that water heater to the electrical energy source. So electrical energy source is nothing but, as per this discussion, our point 1 is nothing but the energy in, which is nothing but the raw power or battery or electrical energy source. You switch on that particular electrical water heater, then automatically from there onwards, the water in which we have kept our water heater gets heated up. So that electrical energy is converted into the temperature. So because of that particular temperature, the water in which that electrical heater was placed, it will gets heated up. So this is nothing but energy out. So we have discussed about two examples. Now heat, how that electrical energy, it will emit or extract and it converts into the temperature and light. So these are the basic three parameters which is highly required for better understanding of electrical circuits. Now just now, as we discussed, a battery is there. So battery will have two terminals. One is the positive terminal and next one is the negative terminal. If the battery is connected from positive terminal of it to the negative terminal of it by means of external media, then from the instant where we have connected the positive and negative terminals of the battery by means of external circuit, from there onwards, electrical energy it will be flow from positive terminal to the negative terminal. Then at the same instant, from the negative terminal of the battery to the positive terminal, there will be a source of flow of electrical energy, that is nothing but because of the free electrons, which are nothing but negative charge particles. So negative charge particles always flows from negative terminal of the battery to the positive terminal of the battery by means of the external circuits, not through the battery itself. So I am explaining you that if the battery is connected by means of external circuits, and if a conductor is joining positive terminal of the battery to the negative terminal, then there will be two energies. Now one is the energy because of the positive charge particles and one is because of the negative charge particles. Now negative charge particles are nothing but because of the electrons, and positive charge particles are nothing but the electric field direction. Now electric field direction is from positive terminal to the negative terminal. Electrons and direction of the motion is from negative terminal to the positive terminal. The direction of the current and flow of electrons always in the opposite directions. So as we discussed, current only flows if the circuit is able to find, if the circuit is completely closed circuit, then only current will exist in the circuit. Otherwise, no. Generally, in that circuit, we are going to use one switch. That switch, if it gets closed, then that switch makes the circuit a closed circuit. If the switch gets opened, then that breaks the circuit. Now, if the circuit is breaks, that circuit is nothing but it is called as open circuit. If the circuit is closed, means which make the circuit, then the circuit is nothing but the closed circuit. Here, the current is nothing but it is the flow of free charge particles. Now, this flow of charge particles only exists in the circuit if the circuit is completely closed in the nature. If the circuit is opened in the nature, then the flow of electrons may not be there. If there is no flow of electrons, then there is no question of any current in the circuit. So the minimum requirement for current, now if you want to see some amount of current in the circuit means, first of all, you have to develop one closed circuit. Now in that closed circuit means basically three requirements we have to fill. One is the energy source and next one is the load, and these two things should be connected by means of a electrical conductor, which is nothing but electrical wire. So the main thing we have to remember here is current only exists if the circuit is nothing but closed in the form. If the circuit is opened in the form, then we won't find any electrical current in the circuit. Now, understanding of basics of electricity by thinking of it as a water. So, for better understanding, let me take water tank analogy. Now, how do you measure voltage and current in the electrical circuits? What are the minimum requirements to develop some voltage, and how that current will flow in the circuit, and how do you measure the voltage and current in the electrical circuits? In this slide, we have represented two different circuits. One is the water circuit, that is nothing but one pump is there. This is nothing but water pump is there, and then again water pump is connected in the water circuit like this, and one more circuit. In this circuit, one voltage source is connected by means of switch to the resistor. Here there are two circuits we are going to discuss here. Now, first circuit is nothing but it is a water circuit. Second one is the electrical circuit. So, for better understanding what that electrical energy, how it flows, who will create some obstacles for the flow of electrical charge particles, and what are the minimum requirement is required to develop some voltage and current, all these things let us understand, let us discuss with the help of one water circuit. This video certainly hopefully helps us for better understanding of the basics of electrical circuit. So this is the electrical loop, electrical circuit, and this is nothing but water circuit. And this is the pump is used to drive or to create some force to the water, and this is the voltage source. It exerts some force on the electrical charge particles in the electrical circuit. Now this pump, because of this pump, there will be a flow of water in the circuit, and because of this battery, there will be a flow of charge particles in the electrical circuit. So this is almost of all same concepts like water and electricity. We are going to compare these two analogies later in the later cases. And this water pump, now in the water circuit, if you could observe, so there was some bend kind of things. Because of this, there will be an obstacle you can find in the water circuit. In the same manner, there will be a resistor. Now resistor will also create some obstacles to the flow of charge particles. And this is a switch. This is a valve kind of thing. Now we can observe normally in the water circuits, this valve makes, sometimes it based on this requirement, you can make the circuit or you can break the circuit. If the valve is closed, then you cannot find any water flow in the circuit. Same as the switch in the electrical circuit. Now if the switch gets open circuited as depicted here, then it will create some infinite opposition. Opposition is too much. Because of this opposition, there is no flow of any electrical charge in the electrical circuit. So these two circuits will give the better understanding. Now how this water, and same as the water is nothing but the flow of charge in the electrical circuit. So water and the charge is almost about same, and this water pump and voltage source is similar to it. And wherever this water is flowing through some pipes, if the pipes are arranged with a different diameter, then it will create some pressure on the water. Now in the same manner, in the electrical circuit also, now sometimes there is a opposition. That opposition is called as a resistance. Now it will also create some pressure on the electrical charge, that is called as a resistor. So because of this resistor, there will be an obstacle for the electrical energy. So this pressure and energy are similar to it. Voltage source and pump is similar. And next one is water is more or similar to the charge particles or electrical energy, that is the charge which is flowing in the electrical circuit. Now let us understand what is the analogies between water circuit and the electrical circuits. Now let us take water arrangement like this. Now if the diameter of that particular beaker is too high, then that particular it will allow more amount of water in it. Now this volume of this water, if it is high, then it will certainly creates higher pressure. And similarly, it can be compared with a beaker. If the diameter is low or smaller diameter, this smaller diameter allows very smaller amount of water, the volume of the water admitted into the smaller diameter valve is also low, so it will create lower pressure on it. And suppose here this example will depicts a very good, it will provide a very good valid information about the flow of current and all. See, in this one we have taken two levels of waters. So this is first level and this is the second level of water. You imagine if these two level of waters are kept side by side, then if the potential or if the pressure of that first level of tank and the second level of tank, first level of tank is depicted with V1, second level of tank is shown with V2. If these two are kept side by side and the pressure of first tank and the second tank is same, then it is very clear that there is no flow of any water between them. Now slowly if the second tank is bringing down, then the water starts flowing from V1 to V2. Now V1 is nothing but it is the pressure level of tank 1. V2 is the pressure level of water tank 2. If there exists a pressure differences from one level of tank to the another level, then only there will be a flow of water. Now instead of this, if V2 is kept above V1, then water will flow from V2 to V1. Now in this example, we have arranged two different water beakers and V1 is kept a little bit at higher altitude as compared to the V2. Then V1, from V1 there will be a flow of water. Now water will start coming from V1 to V2. Now in the same manner, the flow of current is nothing but is also exactly similar to the water from where it is coming and from to which it is admitting into it. So V1 and V2 are nothing but these are the pressure levels of this water is more or less similar to the potential. So first tank potential is V1, second tank potential is V2. The differences in the potential, that is nothing but the potential difference is nothing but the V1 and V2. Now if the V1 and V2 is 0, I mean to say if there is no potential difference, if there is no potential difference means just like water, if the two beakers are kept at the same level of pressures with respect to the ground, then there is no flow of water. In the same manner, if there is no potential difference for that particular water conduit on two terminals of it, either terminals of it, if there is no potential difference, then there is no question of any electrical energy from either sides. Neither it is flowing from V1 to V2, nor it flows from V2 to V1. So from this simple example, it is very clear that if we want to see some amount of electrical energy or some electrical current, if we want to see it should be existed in the circuit means, now that particular conductor, it should have potentials in the different magnitudes on either sides. For that particular conductor, if the potentials of the two sides are at the same potential, then the current in the conductor is 0. Only we can see some amount of electrical energy or electrical current through that particular conductor, provided that the two terminals of this particular conductor at different potentials. Now, one important thing we should remember here is, the important thing we have to remember with the help of this but a simple example is, if we want to see some amount of electrical energy through a conductor, the conductor will have two terminals on either sides. There must and should be a differences in the potentials. There exists a difference in the potential, then only there will be a flow of electrical energy through it. Otherwise, we cannot find any charge particles movement through that particular conductor. So the minimum thing requirement to develop some electrical conduction through any conductor is there must be a potential difference. So the potential difference is the differences between the two terminals of the conductors V1 and V2. If that particular conductor is having V1 potential and V2 potential, the potential difference is V1 minus V2. So again, one more simple example. The tank is connected and we are expecting some amount of water from the tank to some fields or something else. Then in that cases, now if there are two pipes are there, if the pipe having shorter length will have less resistance, means more amount of water it will come from a pipe which is having short in the length. Similarly, one more pipe is there. That is a very lengthy pipe. That lengthy pipe, certainly it will have more resistance. So if it is having more opposition, resistance is nothing but one kind of opposition. If it is more resistance, automatically the current is nothing but very less in the magnitude. So what are the basic requirements? Now we are going to take voltage, current and power, and any atom is nothing but is a combination of three: neutrons, protons, electrons. Protons are positively charged particles, electrons are negatively charged particles. Through any conductor, now electrons carry charge. That electrons, the movement of these electrons is like this. Now energy harnessed using charge is nothing but the electricity. Now between a conductor, across the two terminals of the conductor, because of different charges concentration, there will be a potential difference. Let us take a battery. Now battery have two terminals. Definitely there will be a potential difference between them. The main reason is the two terminals of the battery will have different charge concentration. The charge particles are different, so there will be a potential difference. The potential difference of the charge or this particular battery is existing, so there will be a voltage between the two terminals, and the units of the voltage is nothing but the energy, electrical energy per unit charge. So understanding of the concept of voltage using water tank analogy, just now in the previous slide also we have discussed.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.